Joining me now with more on all of this in this Sunday Morning Futures exclusive is House GOP Conference Chair, Congresswoman Elise Stefanik, who has been at the forefront of exposing anti-Semitism on college campuses. Congresswoman, it's good to see you this morning. Thanks very much for being here.
Good to be with you, Maria.
So assess the situation today after we did see a fair amount of cleanup at some colleges over the weekend. And I want to get your take on what you want to see happen in terms of federal funding of college universities.
Well, first of all, Maria, this is a crisis in higher education, and I want to thank our law enforcement officers. You played the clip of the NYPD, but who has failed are the university presidents. Our law enforcement have done the right thing, bringing security back to these college campuses. But our university presidents, whether it's Columbia, whether it's Harvard, Penn, whether it's UCLA, Michigan, Yale, the list goes on, they have failed to protect Jewish students. They have also failed to condemn anti-Semitism. And let's be honest, these pro-Hamas riots, this is Joe Biden's Democrat Party. Joe Biden not only waited 10 days to condemn, he has been silent since last December with that historic hearing where you had 3 Ivy League university presidents fail to condemn the genocide of Jews. Joe Biden waited months to speak out saying that testimony was unacceptable. He didn't even say that actually in his statement, but he gave it lip service. But this is the radicalized far-left Democrat Party that Joe Biden owns today. It is about lawlessness. It is about anarchy. It is attacking our most precious ally, Israel, and it is hurling anti-Semitic slurs against Jewish students, as well as physical harassment, physical assault against Jewish students. So there is a great deal that we are doing in Congress in our oversight. And our legislative solutions will consist of pulling back federal funding, addressing the foreign dollars that are flowing into these institutions, and holding these schools accountable.
Why haven't the Democrats been more aggressive on this? Chuck Schumer in the Senate, the highest ranking Jewish person in Congress, hasn't said enough, in my view. It feels like they're afraid to offend their own base. And Joe Biden, he said, the first thing he said was, those who don't understand what's going on with the Palestinians, I also condemn that, whatever that means.
Exactly. This is Joe Biden's Democrat Party today, the pro-Hamas rioters on college campuses, the anarchists, and that's why you're seeing trepidation among Democrats from speaking out, because this is their base. And the reality is this is why Republicans continue to poll stronger and stronger, because we represent peace and security, we represent standing up for the Constitution, we represent supporting our ally of Israel, and we strongly condemn anti-Semitism. There is a reason that House Republicans have led on this, and it's because there has been a void at our universities. There is a void at the White House, starting with the top of Joe Biden, and there's been a void in Democrat leadership, including Chuck Schumer, which is why we have expanded the investigation and will continue to be good stewards of taxpayer dollars to yank federal funding that is propping up these institutions that are indoctrinating our next generation.
Well, I mean, you also have to go back to Schumer's speech on the Senate floor a month ago or so, where he called for new elections in Israel, said that Benjamin Netanyahu is not serving the people of Israel anymore. I mean, this is in the middle of the fight for survival for Benjamin Netanyahu's life and the state of Israel's survival. He's attacking Netanyahu.
It was unacceptable, and I was proud to respond immediately with fellow House Republican leadership condemning Chuck Schumer's statements. It is more important than ever that the United States stand strongly with Israel and the duly elected leaders of Israel as they are fighting for their very existence. And this is why we're very proud to have a strong conference of House Republicans condemning anti-Semitism and supporting Israel. That's in stark contrast to Joe Biden, the Democrat Biden campaign, and Chuck Schumer, who have failed to support Israel. And Joe Biden's silence on this is deafening, and he owns these riots because they are a part of the Democrat base, and that's why they're so desperate in trying to morally equivocate from the White House.
Congresswoman, tell me about this Anti-Semitism Awareness Act, which the House voted on Wednesday. It would mandate the Department of Education to use the International Holocaust Remembrance Alliance definition of anti-Semitism. Tell me what this does. How important is this that you all voted on this week?
This is very important. This codifies President Trump's executive order. So President Trump doesn't get credit from the mainstream media, but it was President Trump that expanded Title VI protections for Jewish students on college campuses. And the Biden administration and the Biden Department of Education, they have failed to open up investigations into each of these college campuses that have been egregious and failed to protect Jewish students on those campuses. So what this legislation does is that codifies it, it strengthens it legislatively, and we need to continue to hold the Biden administration accountable for their failure to comply with this executive order that's on the books because of President Trump.
So who is funding this? I was told that a lot of these groups were getting their direction from social media. At one point, there was a directive on social media to go and take over buildings where academics take place, and then they went and they took over Hamilton Hall at Columbia. We're hearing a lot that there are antagonists that are not connected to the school. Give us your sense of who's behind it, who's funding it, and how many people are students versus outside agitators?
These are really important questions, Maria. So this is a well-organized entity of far-left Democrat radical groups domestically. It is well-funded, well-organized. But in addition, there is a foreign funding piece that is very important that we get to the bottom of, whether it's the foreign funding flowing into these Middle Eastern studies programs at these universities, propping up anti-Semitic professors, as well as propagating anti-Semitic curriculum. We need to not allow that foreign funding, and that is going to be an important legislative solution. In addition, any individuals who are part of these pro-Hamas riots or pro-Hamas encampments who are on student visas, those visas need to be revoked, and those individuals need to be deported immediately. And in the case of Columbia, we found from NYPD that over 40% of the rioters were unaffiliated with Columbia University, meaning they were neither students, professors, or faculty members. And that just shows the failure of Columbia leadership to deal with this. They have allowed these outside rioters, these outside far-left Democrat pro-Hamas activists to take over their campuses, putting all students at risk, especially Jewish students. So this is why I've called for the resignation of the Columbia president, Manoush Shafik. She negotiated with the terrorist, and that was a recipe for disaster.
Look, I know that China also has a role, whether it be the propaganda coming out of TikTok or all the money that China has sent to these institutions, and we never see the Biden administration push back on that. Is it largely the institutes that are connected to college institutions or something else in terms of China's role?
Yes, Communist China has tried to infiltrate our college campuses through their Confucius Institutes. This is something that Republicans have worked to address, to not allow Confucius Institutes, but we're also seeing it in the information warfare space, Maria, that you touched upon on TikTok, which is a communist Chinese front to collect data. It's a national security threat. They have promoted anti-Semitic content on TikTok, and they have suppressed any pro-Israel content on TikTok. And we know that these radicalized far leftists utilize TikTok to organize, to get their message out, which is why the ban on TikTok, the requirement that TikTok divest from communist China, is so incredibly important. We passed that in the House, and that's a big result that we've been able to deliver.
Congressman, before you go, let me switch gears and ask you about the Manhattan trial of President Trump right now. I know that you have issued ethics complaints against the judge. You also want an investigation of Michael Cohen. Tell me what you're doing with regard to that, and how would you assess this trial right now for Trump?
This is a political witch hunt against Joe Biden's opponent, who is Donald Trump, and it's because Democrats cannot win at the ballot box. The fact that they have a gag order on President Trump in the midst of a general election campaign shows how desperate the Democrats are. You have a corrupt judge in Judge Merchant. Not only did he donate personally to the Biden campaign, but an immediate member of his family is raising tens of millions of dollars off of the trial itself and attacking Donald Trump. This is the chief online fundraiser for Adam Schiff, to the tune of nearly $90 million, Maria. So this is corrupt to its core, and yet this is in the left and the corrupt DOJ. This is apparently what they're doing with lawfare, and we need to stand strong and make sure that this never happens again. When it comes to the star witness for this political witch hunt, this is an individual who perjured himself in front of Congress, who is a known liar, and I urge the Department of Justice to continue the criminal contempt against Michael Cohen, but there is no no case here. It is desperation, and it's a desperate form of election interference.
Congresswoman, you were in Mar-a-Lago this week. Did President Trump bring up you being his vice presidential candidate?
Oh, we had a lot of great members there. What really came out across to me, Maria, was how unified the Republican Party is and how many rising stars we had. There's a lot of names that are in the mix. I'm honored to have my names as one of them in the mix right now. But it is a true testament to the strength of the Republican Party. You have so many up-and-comers who are working hard every day to save America. And this is really a unified campaign to support President Trump, who will save this country this November.
Congressman, it's good to see you this morning. Thanks very much.
I'm Steve Doocy.
I'm Brian Kilmeade.
And I'm Ainsley Earhart. And click here to subscribe to the Fox News YouTube page to catch our hottest interviews and most compelling analysis.